Prime Minister Christopher Luxon, who's with us for the next 6 hard minutes. Good morning. Good to have you back in the country, Prime Minister.
Good to be with you for the next 6 hard minutes.
We'll start with law and order. I didn't mean for it to sound quite like that. We'll start with law and order because you've got a bunch of announcements coming out this week, stuff we've already had. Is your big problem here actually getting the courts to do what you guys are telling them to do? I mean, we've sort of seen this with first responders. It's been legislated before that they're to be taken care of when it comes to sentencing, but, you know, do the courts really pay it much attention?
Well, there's sort of 3 things we've been trying to do. One is we've got to get tough on gangs for violent crime. We've got to get, sort out serious young offending, get rid of the ram raids, which has been going on. And the third bit is making sure we've got some serious consequences for some serious crimes. So, yes, we are mandating that through legislation because we want to be crystal clear about the expectations. Today, tomorrow actually our new legislation comes in where we're limiting what judges can discount sentences by, based on you can't have multiple reasons for remorse, all that kind of stuff.
But will they just increase the discounts on other things? You know what I mean?
Well, no, I think they've got a pretty clear sense of what this government wants, which is you can't go bash up and beat up a paramedic from St John's.
But we've had this in legislation, or it's currently there.
But we're putting a triple line underneath it, say that's important, But I mean, and I'm sorry, you can't discount sentences by more than 40% anymore.
How many times do you have to underline something before they actually pay attention?
Well, I don't care. We're restoring law and order. We're lowering crime. That's been happening. We've got, you look at what's happening with our violent crime trending down. Our serious young offenders has seriously shifted and changed. That's all good. Police are out on the beat. Okay. People are feeling safer.
Are you having the same problem with Whānau Ora and the funding? Where, how many times to you blue in the face do you say, don't spend on this, don't spend on that, these are our priorities, and it seems like the money's getting spent anyway?
Yeah, there's a couple of things going on there. The allegations that have been made are incredibly serious, and if taxpayer money has been used for those purposes, that is utterly unacceptable.
For the electioneering one?
In both cases, the electioneering and the Moana Pacifica case, so we need to understand that for sure. We've got an investigation that will be completed this month to make sure that we understand for sure. Both those organisations...
Because they're denying that there's anything wrong,
Well,
right?
Both those organisations take public money from the government, but they also take private money from other people as well. So we've got to make sure that the public money has not been used for those purposes.
If this organisation has the money, is getting public money and private money, and is able to fund a Super Rugby franchise, should they be getting public money?
Well, again, there's 2 different pieces to it. That's up to them in their private capacity versus the public money is designed.
But you know what I'm saying? If they've got the money to do that, then aren't there more basic things they should be taking care of?
Well, but the point is we are actually tasking them to actually deliver improved social outcomes. If you think about immunisation rates, if you think about school attendance services, there's been some excellent work done by community organisations through Whānau Ora that have done really well. But these are serious allegations.
Okay,
I just say to you on that though, but Tama Potaka has done a good job of changing the way Whānau Ora is managed going forward.
Yeah.
So the previous 3 commissioning agencies are gone from tomorrow.
Yes, and the new ones are coming in.
And there's better contracting taking place.
But what will be the repercussion if anyone is found to have misused funds from Whānau Ora? Will they be cut off, never used again?
I would imagine there'll be a whole bunch of recourse that we would expect. That's taxpayers' money. It needs to be respected and used for public purposes.
And therefore, you wouldn't put it back in the same place, would you?
Well, the key thing is
that would be foolish of us.
Both these organisations that are under investigation are no longer commissioning agencies as of tomorrow for Whānau Ora services. There are 4 brand new providers that Tom has put in place. He's also come back and said conflicts have to be managed. There's got to be more auditing. There's got to be more data. There's got to be an outcomes approach to the way we do these contracts.
You didn't meet with Trump. Did you have any chats on the sidelines of?
I didn't actually. NATO? We had a dinner with all the leaders at the Dutch King's Royal Palace, which was lovely.
You didn't get a chance to tap him on the shoulder, or?
I didn't actually, but it was a great. I was in Europe for 3 reasons. One is to drive trade, which has been going up gangbusters, up 25%, up $1 billion extra. I was there to drive a lot of bilateral. I had 15 to 20 meetings one-on-one with different leaders. And then thirdly, it was about NATO and this common interest around the security environment.
Tanya Ankovic, what have you heard about why she's going?
I don't know. I've just read what you've read in the paper as well.
So no one's said to you that there's a reason other than what we've been
told? No, I've only read the reports like you have as well.
All right. Are the Nats going to run in Tamaki Makaurau, a by-election?
Oh, we'll have all that discussion in due course. I think this week it's really about acknowledging for Tash and her family. It's their tangi and whānau and friends that we really should be respecting. We'll worry about the by-election after that.
Health, John Ryan, Auditor General's report, postcode lottery alive and well. Are you happy with that?
Well, it just confirms what New Zealanders know. Taking too long to get services and certainly there's some variation across the country, and that's why we're working hard. We've put more money in, we're hiring more, we've got clear targets. and now we've got to get delivery.
Also, that your changes that you're making, outsourcing to private, will make that worse.
Rubbish, absolute rubbish.
How can you say that, though, when you don't have the same private hospital capacity in Northland as you have in Auckland? It's inevitably going to lead to...
The point is we have thousands of people post-labour that have gone on wait lists for waiting for elective surgeries. When you're lying on your back in a hospital room looking up at the ceiling, you don't care whether your hip replacement or your knee replacement or your cataracts have
comes
been done
from private or public.
Public or private
I
hospital.
agree
So
with
we're
that.
using the capacity to get through what is a
I agree with
crisis
that.
of
but
wait
But
lists.
at different strokes for different folks, depending on where you are in the country, there'll be different private hospital capacity.
Sure.
So you are exacerbating the postcode lottery.
Well, we can have that intellectual conversation, but more
Well,
importantly...
it's not intellectual, is it? When
Well,
when you're living in Northland and can't go to a private hospital.
No, I'm saying... I'm
Is it intellectual for those people?
I'm acknowledging that that is the case, but I'm also saying when you've got tens of thousands of people who actually could be helped across the country, I appreciate it's not even. There are variations across the country.
Okay, so you're saying
you
it will
should-
exacerbate the postcode lottery, but overall it will improve the situation, so it's worth doing.
Yeah, we left government and there was 1,000 people on a wait list. You know, we come back and there's probably, there's tens of thousands of people on wait lists. So you've seen just even in the last, with using the private capacity, we've done over 10,000 more operations in the space of a couple of months.
We're at 10 past, so I have to let you go because
That's 6 minutes up.
You have your plane to catch. But the US, do we have any update on trade talks with them?
We're in good shape. We've been talking to their trade equivalent to Todd McClay, and we're very comfortable with where we sit with respect to everybody's getting the 10% basic tariff.
So that will just continue. We're not one of these countries trying to negotiate a deal here.
We've talked to the Americans. We've got a different set of circumstances than others in the sense of we've got the minimum amount of tariff being levelled at us.
Okay.
But more importantly, our US exporters are continuing to do well even post-tariffs in the US.
You need to leave. I can see your press
Catch my plane.
tapping his feet behind you.